has to be 15 days. And that's why it's very important for an individual to know their adat, to know their habit, to keep track of that. Nowadays there's apps and there's all these things that aid us to know, because this is going to facilitate, because a lot of things are attached to this, right? We're missing our prayers, we're missing our fasting, and this part is going to affect a lot of other things, right? So I have to make sure that between 1 and 2 weeks is about right? 2 weeks is about right. So right, I know, like, right, 2 weeks ago an individual had maize, and after 2 weeks they got it. So that falls within that same day. What is the maximum between one cycle and the other cycle? There's no maximum. Nice, right? There's no maximum. We're not in a math class, Habibi. Just to hold on the thought.
A month could be 29 days in the Islamic calendar.
Okay.
So 15 is 30. What if the month is 29 days?
If the month is 29 days, you 15 days.
So you still have 4 days left.
You have 4 days left. حسب على individual. It's يعني. This is just to estimate us. I should know the minimum and the maximum, right? So that I'm able to distinguish, and you don't have to worry about it, Habibi. Okay? So we remember when we said in the chapter of taking ghusl, we said how many things necessitate ghusl? Let's see who will pay attention. How many things, yes, how many states or things necessitate ghusl? It was 2?
Or 3?
3? So we said 6. And 3 are only specific to the women. So we mentioned, what are the things that necessitate ghusl? Remind me, guys, what are the things that necessitate ghusl?
Which ones?
What are the things that necessitate ghusl?
Intercourse.
Right? Intimacy. Ejaculation.
Death.
Death.
Menstruation.
Right? Menstruation. Wa alaikum salam. The only person who's excused is you, because you aren't there then. But the rest were there. What else? What else necessitate ghusl? We've mentioned intimacy, right? Giving birth. Nice. One more. Postnatal bleeding. Allahu Akbar. Allah bless you, bro. And grant you tawfiq fi dunya wal akhirah. Wa fil barzakh. Okay? So, menstruation, we spoke about. So, this necessitates ghusl. The next thing is what? Giving birth. What can we consider? What is considered giving birth, right? When you're giving birth to, alhamdulillah, a human. So that, so that in and of itself, right? So that in and of itself will require what? Tayammum, right? Ghusl, okay. Alhamdulillah, at least one person is listening to me. Okay. This is a single event that requires ghusl. Okay. What about miscarriage? Can we consider miscarriage giving birth?
Miscarriage?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Why?
Because the egg, the yolk is leaving.
Ahsant. So, but it depends now, right? So it depends. Is it when you're having a miscarriage the first 40 days, when it's only a clot of blood, or when the embryo is formed? You understand? Yes. So the miscarriage depends. Is it the first 40 days where the blood clot is formed? Right? The Quran speaks about this, and the hadith of Abdullah bin Mas'ud in Arba'in an-Nawawi speaks about that as well, right? And then after 40 days it becomes mudgha, thumma halaqa, right? Like that, like after 40 days, first 40 days it becomes a clot of blood. So a clot of blood is essentially a fertilized egg that became a blood after 40 days when the sperm and the ovary met. So would we consider this giving birth? This blood clot? No. This blood clot is not considered giving birth, but rather what will we consider this now in this scenario? Ahsanti, Allahu Akbar, right? Great. So this is going to be considered as just menstruation. Okay? So the other one is either, it's either the embryo. Embryo is what? It's an egg which is after 80 days. Now it's fertilized, now it's forming. That this now, if an individual has miscarriage of an embryo, this is considered as what? Giving birth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help all of our wives and our sisters, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all righteous kids. Amen. Alright, what about C-section? I don't know how to say the first part, but C-section. Huh? Caesarean birth. So, is that considered giving birth?
Yes.
Absolutely, yes. Excellent. Anyone in the medical field here? Anyone that we can refer to if we have issues, questions? Huh?
Obviously.
You? Oh, huh? Huh?
Just the eyes.
Okay, now we've spoken about what? How many things have we spoken about? 3 things, right?
Wait, what was the first 2?
Huh? You tell me.
I wasn't here.
You're here, yeah, Shaima.
No, I'm talking about menstruation. Before I came to the classroom is what I meant.
Okay, the people who are here since the beginning, we've covered how many things? 3. Right?
Duration of menstruation?
We've covered, no, just in general topic.
Today?
Yeah, what have you covered? 3 things we've covered.
Menstruation.
Okay, and?
Oh, and birth?
And giving birth. We've covered only 2 things. You see, people are not paying attention, man. I don't know, is it the teacher who's boring, or because the content is good?
Too much to process, that's why.
Too much to process? Don't worry about it. Postnatal bleeding. So postnatal bleeding is now when an individual gives birth, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala aid all of our wives and our sisters when they're giving birth. Amen. So once an individual gives birth, now they are going to experience bleeding for a duration of time. So what is the minimum? Like right for menstruation, we say the minimum amount an individual can, for it to be considered menstruation, we said the minimum is 3 days, right? Sant. You see, people paying attention really good.
24 hours.
Okay, but you say, so in the school is what? It's 24 hours, 1 day and 1 night. Okay, and we said the maximum is 13 days. All right?
No, it says 15.
Okay, alhamdulillah, we say 15 days. Great. So,
Forget the last one.
great. So, what is the minimum duration that an individual experiences this, and then we can say it's considered a postnatal bleeding or nifas? What is the minimum amount? What do you guys think? Huh? Just a moment. The minimum can be a moment, right? Once they give birth, after they give birth, the blood, that we count that as, and if there's no more spotting, we continue with our own, right? Regular day and day out. Meaning I can pray, an individual can pray, they can fast, etc, etc. Okay, what is the maximum now? Huh? 60 or 40? You gotta stick with one. 40? Okay. 40? You second that? It's always good to trust your instincts, but okay. 40? What do you guys think? What is the maximum?
9 months.
See, instinct is good. 60 days.
So what about those who freeze the embryo and then gives birth in the first month and makes it grow outside of the body?
I don't know, Habibi. That's beyond my pay grade. Yeah. So the maximum is 60 days. 61 days. What is the hukum? An individual is sporting for 61 days. If it's, what should we consider? Istihada. But can an individual finish a postnatal bleeding and then start menstruation cycle? Huh?
I think so. No?
I'm asking.
You see that one more time?
Can an individual start, they finish their postnatal bleeding and then immediately there's usually a menstruation that follows it. A cycle. Yeah? Yes, possible? You guys think it's possible?
I'm not saying that.
Well, the average is 40 days. Something we call umul. Right, Sagan? Umul. You know umul?
Yeah.
Yes. So that comes from that. Right? Every culture, there is something that you say, oh, you know, somebody gave birth 40 days. Right? So this is where it comes from usually. Right? So this is when they're experiencing that. Right? So, to my understanding, and I might be very wrong, is it's possible, and from the readings that I've done, it's possible for administration to follow the postnatal bleeding. So the 61 day, so day 61, we will consider that what? Menstruation. But I have to recheck that, and if anyone knows, they can correct me, inshallah. Okay. So the maximum is 60. So in between these, I'm not able to engage in a lot of things. So now we're speaking about three things. We spoke about menses, menstruation. We spoke about giving birth. We're speaking about postnatal bleeding nifas. Okay? And now there's things that are going to be prohibited when I'm in different states. So when I'm in, for example, I'm in a minor state, hadath al-asghar, what can I not engage in when I'm in minor state of impurity? What can I not engage in?
Prayer.
Ahsan, prayer. Right? So at that moment, prayer is prohibited for me. So when I am in a state of janaba, right? What am I prohibited from? Some things, right? For example, prayer again. N. Similarly, when an individual is in their menstruation or they are in their postnatal bleeding, haid or nifas, there are some of the things that which are prohibited. And now I'll pose a question now. Or before I pose a question, let's go through the list. What are some of the things that you guys think that is prohibited during this time? Touching the Quran, okay? Touching the Quran, and we've spoken into length what touch is defined as, what Quran is defined as, and, right? Okay, great. Touching the Quran.
Sexual relations.
Right? Intimacy. Sexual intercourse is prohibited. Right? What is considered sexual intercourse? We've spoken about that, right? We've spoken about that, alhamdulillah, in the class of the things that necessitate ghusl. Okay? What are the other things?
How about
Huh? Fasting. Ahsant. Fasting. Great. Tawaf. Yes. Nice. Tawaf is prohibited. Okay? What else? Let's explore the list, right? The number one is prayer. So, when an individual is in either haid, menstruation, or postnatal bleeding, they cannot pray. The question, or they cannot fast, as somebody mentioned. Man, our sisters are missing out. Right? Is that how we should think of this like that? Like, why not?
That's not the truth.
Huh?
it's a rahmah.
Huh? It's a rahmah, absolutely. It's a rahmah. What else? By the virtue of me abstaining from prayer and fasting, what am I engaged in? I'm engaged in ibadah. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told me, when you're in this state, not to do what? Not to pray, not to fast. So I'm adhering to the call of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Isn't that ibadah? Am I really missing out? Absolutely not. Alhamdulillah. So, prayer. I cannot engage in prayer. So, be it obligatory prayers, Dhuhr, Maghrib, etc., etc., or non-obligatory prayer, Tahiyatul Masjid, Janaza, etc., etc., etc. Prostration of thankfulness or prostration of recitation, Sajdat, Ashukr, or Tilawa.
So would that,
Huh?
would that include like dua and sujood?
So, can I make dua when I'm in this state? Absolutely. By me making sujood, is that sujood for these specific two reasons? Or is that dua just, you know what, I want to go and humble myself in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and pour myself out?
So then is it considered like, is intention taken into account?
The intention, right? For if the intention is for the prostration of thankfulness, what is it called now? Can I engage in them? Absolutely not. If the intention is for the recitation, can I engage in them? But I just want to make a dua, for example, masalan. I want to just go into that state without having intention. I don't have none of this intention. But the individual is in their menses or their prostration. It's just this a lot going on and they just want to fall down and just, you know, like bow to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and pour their heart out.
Sorry, I don't mean to be annoying here, but I'm just really wondering. So you said recitation of thankfulness and recitation.
Yes.
Now, some du'as are mentioned in the Quran.
Yes.
So I'm wondering, would the dua, like in sujood, if you were to, you know, get down, just because you need to get some weight off your shoulders?
Yes.
Would we have to refrain from using dua that's mentioned in the Quran?
Absolutely not. We spoke about that before, remember? So when I have adhkar, I have dhikr, or I have du'as that is Quranic, is that Quran at that moment or is it dua? It's dua. I am reciting them as an intention of dua, not Quran. So you see the difference?
Yeah.
So in that moment I can. And I'm going to explain about things, again, when we recite the Quran, we're going to talk about it when individual who is in their menses cannot recite the Quran, right? What does recitation mean? We're going to talk about it, inshallah. But to just answer your question now, right, I can make Quranic dua, right? رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ, right? That's Quran, but I'm making dua. I'm now making it as an intention of. Or some people have wird, they have their daily litany that has Quranic verses. At that moment, are they reciting this litany as a Quran or as a dhikr? As dhikr, it's okay. Allah arda alaykum. Fasting. Fasting is prohibited. Be it obligatory fasting, Ramadan, or qada, makeup, or that you missed on, and non-obligatory Monday, Thursday, right? All of them. Reading the Quran now is where the issue comes. What do you think reading entails, or recitation of the Quran? Huh?
Oh, so it has to be, it has to be physical books, not including apps?
It's the mushaf we're not supposed to.
Oh, merely reading?
I'm yet to define what the Quran is first. I'm talking about what is reading entail or recitation. Is it me audibly saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, or
Reading a text somewhere.
is this considered reading?
Well, you're looking at a text?
Doesn't matter. Somebody reads the Quran without looking at the text. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman. Is this Quran considered reading Quran or no?
No, because reading you have to look at a text.
Absolutely
Right
not.
now you're looking at the Quran. So.
Okay. You need to retake Fiqh 101. So that is considered reading and recitation. Okay? When I say reading is qira'ah, it can be or tilawa. I'm using it synonymously.
Yeah, there's
Recitation. So what is considered reading in the school is audible voice, like Bismillah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. You all hear me, right? Great. What about I'm just moving my lips? I finished the entire Quran, man. MashaAllah. Shuf, karama. Without making sound. Right? Didn't the Prophet ﷺ say if you recite Qul Allah 3 times, it's as if you finished the entire Quran?
That's fine, it's not.
Is that considered recitation? Yeah. I'm asking now.
Can you read in your head?
Oh, that's what I'm asking. MashaAllah, the bulbs already came out. That's what I'm trying to ask, huh?
Can I dream as I'm reading the Salah?
The second one counts.
Huh?
It counts.
It counts as reading?
Yeah.
So meaning that when an individual is on their menstruation and postnatal, they cannot even lip sync.
That's not what I said.
Ah.
But that's what your presentation is.
No.
Yes, but that's the question I'm asking.
But is it kind of like when you're making salah and you have to actually move your lips when reciting Surah Fatiha? Is it similar to that or no?
That's a beautiful example that you're bringing out that I did not consider. Let's explore all of them. So the madhab says that is okay. That moving the lips is okay. But now she brings up a very good point that I did not think about to challenge that. Okay, but when I'm in the salah, I am moving the lips. But when what is moving in the salah, what should you supposed to do? What is the condition? You have to at least hear yourself. And here it says what? Without. But I did not think about that. I should have re-engaged the text like that, right? Alhamdulillah, it's good. But now that it says without making sound. Because when I'm praying, I have to at least audible to myself.
But
I can hear myself.
you're following, you have like people who
Huh?
when you're making it audible. I know it confuses me.
When you're making it audible?
Yeah, when
When an individual...
you're following, right?
Yes.
You're in salah with other people.
Yes.
And you're making it audible.
Yeah.
Don't you have to like consider other people around you? Because when you're...
Yeah, I know. It's very annoying sometimes. Yeah, I know. I cannot even concentrate because this brother, like, it's recorded. I'll say something, but it's recorded. But yeah, okay, silently reading or reading in your head, Sagar. Is that same? Is that okay? So we've established the second one is okay, right? We have all established. Okay, the third one, reading in your head. You don't know? Okay, I want to know.
So you said you're not gonna. So would that like also include like certain sunnahs that we should be doing?
What do you mean, like certain sunnah?
Like at the end of the night or something before we sleep.
But when we're doing those, are we doing it as Quran or as again, we have to distinguish. The individual has to ask themselves, when I'm doing this, for example, somebody reads Surah Al-Mulk before they sleep. Am I reading Surah Al-Mulk because Quran I'm reading, or am I reading as a word, or it depends with the niyyah. It depends with the individual's niyyah. If it's they are reading as Quran, they cannot. I don't
understand that completely. I really don't, because
You do not understand
I
what?
understand intention,
Yes.
but how is it like you're reading Quran?
Yes. Or I'm doing dhikr,
You are reading
which
Quran. How do you? You can intend something else, but it's Quran.
yeah, but it's Quran. But what am I using it for? Am I using it as a Quran in of itself, or am I using it as a form of dhikr, as a form of remembrance? It's something called al-jiha mufakka. One thing that has almost two aspects to it. For example, I steal your water, okay? I go make wudu. Is my wudu valid according to the Shafii school?
Yes.
Absolutely. But am I sinful for stealing your water? Yes. Absolutely. So it looks like one action, but in it there's two separate actions. The Shafii, they call al-jiha mufakka. And that's a very important concept that comes up in a lot of bab of fiqh that you bring up. Jazakallah khair.
I'm going to counteract.
Yeah, but you'll counteract.
No,
but I
feel like it's gonna. Okay, you know what it sounds like to me?
Yeah.
Respectfully.
Yes.
It kind of sounds like Bismillah. The person who says, I identify as such and such, but is a woman. Does that make sense?
No. It is not. It's not. It's not same thing. It's not a totally.
It's a similar concept.
No, absolutely not.
I'm gonna ask you about it after class.
Yes, but it's not a similar concept. One is establishing. One is reality and the other one is not. Let's just put it that way.
So it's like this, right?
Yes.
It's like you won the lottery, but you built a masjid with that money.
Oh wow. Right? You won a lottery and you build a masjid. You build a masjid with that money.
Is it valid since there's two different outcomes?
I will get back to you on that. So did you win a whole lottery? Just give it to me. If you want, just give it to me. But don't tell me you won it as a lottery. Just give it to me as a gift. So yes, so silently is okay. Following the Quran with the with her eye. Like
The physical book?
yeah, no touching.
And is it different from apps?
So you can consider, is app considered Quran first of all?
No.
Oh, okay, thank you. Huh? Yes. Sign language. Sign language. Somebody reading Quran in Surah Al-Fatiha, done. If an individual, so the madhab now talks about it. If an individual understands it, that is reading the Quran and that is not allowed. But I don't understand it, neither of you understand it. When I do this and it's maybe Quran, it doesn't count, it's okay. Understand the difference? Yeah.
So as long as it gets to your head somehow,
Huh?
as long as you understand it somehow,
Yes.
consider reading.
Yes, it's considered reading. What about a teacher of Quran? A teacher or a student who is a hafidah, somebody who's memorizing the Quran. So now can they stop? Because of now, that's about, we said average of 7 to 10 days. 6 to 7 days and then 10 days. So 10 days, if you lose that momentum of memorization, a lot is gonna miss a lot. So what happens to that individual? What can we say for them? Is that considered reading? They can, or a teacher. She wants to correct. She can correct, but she can correct only one word at a time. She say, Kalla, Bismi, Ar-Rahman, like that. There's one way of correcting. Or she can correct as an intention of dhikr or something else. So there's a way of maneuvering it. But, so that is what we have. Touching the mushaf. We spoke about what is touching.
Touching the text itself.
Right? And the mushaf, what did we define as mushaf? We already defined it. Right? We've already defined of mushaf. Is a phone considered mushaf? Thank you. With, huh?
Is your phone considered Muslim?
Yes, so for example, you have a Quran up in your phone. Is that considered mushaf?
No, the phone is not.
Okay, thank you. Right? So touching the mushaf, we have agreed. Touching the mushaf with any part of the body. With the eye, with the head, with the hand, with any part of the body is not allowed, it's prohibited.
What's translation?
Translation is not. Okay, I will define again what is Quran. What is defined as Quran?
The whole ayah in whatever form.
No.
Mushaf means it has to be a book.
Right? The Quran or the mushaf now I'm talking about here, right? Bismillah.
Is it applied to any other madhab, by the way? I'm just wondering.
I don't know.
Okay.
Right? So touching the mushaf, it has to be from Fatiha until An-Nas, nothing else is written in it. It's purely Quran. So he has, some hawashi, some things written on the side, tafasir and stuff like that. That's not Quran. Translation is not Quran. Okay, so somebody can touch the translation and stuff like that.
No, Quran and translation side by side.
Yeah, that's not Quran. That's not considered mushaf, meaning if an individual is in the postnatal bleeding, they can move it. Yes.
This doesn't really have to do with menstruation, but I am curious. What about touching the Quran without having wudu?
Yeah, we spoke about that. That means you've not been. Yes. Yes, but it's a good question. Touching the Quran without wudu. What did we say? People who are present in the class. That's a good question to test people who are here. What did we say about touching? Is it allowed to touch the Quran without in the school? Yes, the Mus'haf, she cannot touch it with a barrier. Yes, and this is so again. Which book did I use? Who is selling it? Hajjah Al-Jadurriya. She says you cannot touch, and this is actually the madhab, but she brought it up again too. You cannot touch the Mus'haf. We define the Mus'haf with any barrier when you are in your menses, menstruation, or postnatal bleeding. I don't know what other madhab say. We have to check that, inshallah. But, huh? Because I don't know how that stretches to that, but the Shafi is, we like using qawaid, right? And if you've been coming to this class, I've been giving you a lot of qawaid, right? So there's a qaida that says harimul haram haram. Harim, anything that surrounds that thing, right, takes the ruling of that specific thing. So that Quran is touched with something, it's still surrounded. Still surrounded. You're still touching Quran through a barrier. So the barrier that you're touching is touching the Quran. So they say harimul haram haram. For example, I'll give you a good example of that. For example, is killing in the masjid, outside the masjid of course, it's not even allowed, or none of all of them, right? But is killing in the vicinity of the masjid allowed in somewhere sacred? No. So meaning that I go at the parking lot, I'll consider that not a masjid anymore. Is that allowed? No. Because I'm still within the vicinity, right? Harimul haram haram. That's what they'll say.
So does that mean
hopefully.
Shafii?
No, I didn't. And I put that disclaimer before, bro. Allah musta'an. Allah musta'an. What was I saying?
Harim haram.
La ilaha illallah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you said that the thing that surrounds.
Okay. Now, yes, the school says touching with a barrier is not allowed. Why? Harimul harami haram. Hopefully, if that helps, khalas. Staying in the masjid. Staying in the masjid is prohibited. What does staying in the masjid, first of all, we have to define a masjid. Is this considered a masjid? No. Masjid, when we say masjid, i.e., it's a musalla. It's a place of musalla. And now when you go to places, now you have to go and ask the institution of the founding document. So when they founded this place, in the documentation, what did they say the musalla space is? Right? The musalla space is. So for example, is the courtyard here, the courtyard considered musalla? No. So the musalla is where? The back space. So the back space, when an individual is on this time, it's prohibited to stay in the masjid.
So like the rest,
or musalla.
so like would the rest be considered like a community center?
No, yani for us, Ammatan, we consider this a masjid. But will Sharia consider this a masjid? Now I have to go to the authority, to the administration, ask them, hey, excuse me guys, did you guys consider this in your finding document? Did you guys specify this as a lecture hall or a musalla? They will tell me a lecture hall. Ahsant, that answers my question. Is that a musalla, quote unquote, masjid?
Okay.
No. Can a sister come when they're experiencing this? Absolutely. Ahsant.
When she's in her menstruation, she cannot go in the musalla?
She cannot go in the musalla. She cannot go and stay in the musalla.
Even like, let's say she's sitting in the back.
Yeah.
Doesn't do it.
Yes, she cannot.
She cannot.
Yes. But
Yes,
she can sit on
she
the
cannot.
stairs and stuff like that.
Yes.
But she can sit on the stairs and stuff like that. Yes. She can sit on the stairs and stuff like that. Yes. She can sit on the stairs and stuff like that. Yes. I'm not covering sit on the stairs and stuff like that. Yes. I'm not covering sit on the stairs and stuff like that. Yes. I'm not covering sit on the stairs and stuff like that. Yes. I'm not covering sit on the stairs and stuff like that. Yes. I'm not covering sit on the stairs and stuff like that. Yes. I'm not covering sit on the stairs and stuff like that. Yes. I'm not covering sit on the stairs and stuff like that. So let's listen to somebody. Right? There's no way that there's no way that they'll say, you know what, there's no way that they'll say, you know what, space and stuff like that. There's no way that they'll say, you know what, space and stuff like that. So why? There's no way that they'll say, you know what, space and stuff like that. So why? There's no way that they'll say, you know what, space and stuff like that. So why? There's no way that they'll say, you know what, space and stuff like that. So why? There's no way that they'll say, you know what, space and stuff like that. So why? There's no way that they'll say, you know what, space and stuff like that. So why? There's no way that they'll say, you know what, space and stuff like that. So why? There's no way that they'll say, you know what, space and stuff like that. So why? There's no way that they'll say, you know what, space and stuff like that. So why? There's no way that they'll say, you know what, space and stuff like that. So why? There's no way that they'll say, you know what, space and stuff like that. So why? There's no way that they'll say, you know what, space and stuff like that. So why? There's no way that they'll say, you know what, space and stuff like that. So why? There's no way that they'll say, you know what, space and stuff like that. So why? There's no way that they'll say, you know what, space and stuff like that. So why? There's no way that they'll say, you know what, space and stuff like that. So why? There's no way that they'll say, you know what, space and stuff like that. So why? There's no way that they'll say, you know what, space and stuff like that. So why? There's no way that they'll say, you know what, space and stuff like that Yes. Shafii